This may be my favorite topic out of the entire program, discipleship. Discipleship is something that's a buzzword around church a lot, but unfortunately I almost never see it done by people. Discipleship is the very thing that Jesus did with the 12 apostles that was causing everything to be transformed in the gospel being presented to the entire earth. Obviously evangelism is a huge part of that, but discipleship is what's done with the person who is giving or has given their life to Christ and you walking through the Christian faith with them. So what I mean by that is discipleship does not happen on a stage, and it does not happen in a massive corporate setting. Discipleship happens one-on-one, one-on-two, one-on-five, whatever it might be, small group setting. Also, to clarify, when I say small group, I don't mean being part of a small group. That's not discipleship either. It can be a portion of discipleship, but we've got to look and examine about how Jesus chose to disciple the 12 and how the early church chose to disciple, because we need to take notes just from what the Word says to determine how we disciple in our own lives. I'm in a park shooting this video right now, and the reason that that's relevant is because I didn't go to a studio to shoot the video. Just in the same way that when I disciple somebody, I don't go to church to disciple them. I don't go to an official formal Bible study to disciple them, but rather discipleship is part of everyday life. It's something where in the midst of you going, Jesus always says, as you go, do whatever you're going to do. In this same context, as I go to the grocery store, I can bring a friend along with me. As I go to the gym, I can bring my friend with me. As I can go to or away from work, I can be with a friend or on a call with a friend. The value in doing this is twofold. First off, it means that you don't have to have everything so formal, pretty, and perfect when you're having discipleship. It's part of your everyday life. Second is the convenience matter for you. It's more convenient for you to be part of discipleship when you're having somebody just be in your life versus always having to set aside a 30-minute or hour-long coffee shop meeting for them to be able to have a conversation with you. And the reality is what do you want to see from me? Do you want to see my picture perfect, edited, and cropped life? Or do you want to see actually how I respond when my baby's crying? Do you want to see actually how I respond in the midst of chaos happening or my wife needing helping cook today or in the midst of an extremely long line or somebody being disrespectful in the grocery store or mall? It's very easy for me to teach about Jesus, but it's much more difficult for us to live out the Word. This is why in James 1 it says, be not hearers of the Word, but doers of the Word are those who are justified. We're supposed to represent Jesus, not know about Jesus. So in the same way, it's very easy for me to teach you about not being angry, but it's a whole nother thing for you to see how I'm not angry in a circumstance. If we're in a coffee shop Bible study, you don't have any relevancy to seeing whether I'm going to get angry or not. But if you're living every single day life with me in the midst of me discipling you, you have a pretty evident way of seeing if I'm actually being angry and throwing fits of rage in the midst of whatever my life circumstances are, because I can't determine my life circumstances. This is what the Bible defines as discipleship. Jesus is thirsty in John 4, and he goes to a well to get a drink. When he goes there, there's a woman he meets there who has a significant need of knowing the Father. And he represents the Father to that woman, and she ends up giving her life to him. It was not a set ministry event. They weren't on evangelism day. It wasn't go and reach the lost day. It was, I'm thirsty and I need a drink. Just like we go to restaurants because we're hungry and need food. Well, what happens when your waiter needs to know Jesus? Does he know Jesus because of your life or no? Because again, he's supposed to know Jesus because of your life. And it's not you going out and having restaurant evangelism day. It's just you eating food because you're hungry and bringing Jesus with you there. This is part of what's going to tie into the daily Christian living portion of the program that we're going to go into. But for right now, the big thing I want you to get out of discipleship is, first off, discipleship happens in everybody's life. You need to be being discipled by somebody, but you also need to be discipling somebody at all times. I don't care if you've been saved 1 month or 100 years, you have something that somebody else needs to hear about Jesus. Second part is when you're discipling somebody, this discipleship process does not happen at the point of salvation and beyond. Salvation happens before somebody gives their life to Jesus, through the cross and beyond the cross. That right there is what evangelism should look like in our lives. And that's happening through us having conversation and relationship with the lost and dying world. Now, friendship with the world is enmity towards Christ. So I'm not saying just chill and have a powwow and do all the things of the world. But in the midst of you going to a restaurant with somebody in the world, is really, like to minister to them. That time is when discipleship starts. And through that, you can go from then through the cross, them giving their lives to Jesus, and then afterwards them learning everything that they need to learn about Christ. This is what discipleship should look like in our lives. We're going to go through a big old deep dive into all of the points that make up an effective discipler. Again, discipleship is a movement. It's action that you're taking, strategic, intentional action that you're taking on your in your place. It is not simply something where we're inviting somebody to church on a Sunday. It's not something where we meet with somebody once every other month. No, discipleship is you living life with somebody, representing Jesus to them, teaching them about Jesus, showing them Jesus in your own life, and then asking them to do the very same things that you did, just like Jesus did. He spoke to them about the Word, Matthew 5 through 7. Then after that, he showed them the Word, Matthew 8 and 9. And then in Matthew 10, he sends them out to go live out the very thing that he just asked them to do themselves. That's what discipleship is, and we're going to dive farther deep into it.